So, Shashika Husser here, coming to you live. Want to let you know that we are here to help you thrive. Listen, let me put the banner on so you can know who you're speaking with. Let me put the banner on so you can understand that, we are here to help you retire before you expire. So, if that's what you desire, what you aspire. We are the ones that you hire. Our goal really is to get your bank account on fire with a whole lot of lifetime tax free retirement income that you will not outlive. And so today's topic is going to be around paychecks that never stop. You heard me, paychecks. I know y'all love money. Money cometh, right? And we know what the word says, that money and a fool will soon part. And so we got to figure out how to get this money game right. Now, of course, we don't know all the ways that we can help you without knowing what your financial situation is and what your assets and liabilities are and how you're doing money. But we can tell you some facts. We can give you some wisdom. And so this is not financial advice. We don't know your financial situation, but what we are doing is sharing facts, sharing not opinions, but facts around ways that you can get your paycheck forever. And so the reason why I love this topic, and we're starting off with this topic, is because as someone that was in the military, for many, many years, excuse me, let me get that. I don't know why my alarm is going off. For someone that was in the military for many, many years, we know that one of the ways that people have received paychecks forever has been through retirement. But of course, that has since changed, and they are no longer doing that. And quite a few pensions are going away. And so we have to have a plan in place so that we can receive a paycheck forever. How do we do that? We have a strategy. We understand our budget. We know how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, and how much money's going towards retirement. So, you should have a percentage of your finances that's going towards different buckets, right? And so that's really depending on you. That is personal preference. No one can tell you how much percentage you should be putting towards any specific bucket. But ideally, people that are looking to really thrive in their retirement are putting around 20% or more towards their retirement, depending on the lifestyle that they want to have and, how much money they want to receive in their actual future. For some, they may want to increase in retirement. Others may want to decrease. When I say increase, in other words, they're doing a lot more traveling. They have expensive hobbies, and the list goes on. You have to determine based on where you are today, how much money would you actually need in retirement? I know that's for some a long ways away, but for others, you're probably 5 to 10 years out. And so that's who we really need to be talking to. If you're super close to your retirement, you need to start looking at how it is that you need to quickly get into alignment around your retirement. And so I want you to understand that there's different products out there, but I never want to sell you a product. I never want to sell you anything. I want to make sure that I tell you that retirement is not an age. Retirement is an income. And we are going to help you design an income that facilitates what you're trying to accomplish. You can't look to watermelon on the right, strawberry on the left. You have to look at who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, what are your goals, how much money do you have, how disciplined have you been in the past, what are your habits, what is the history of your relationship with money, and so much more. And so today we want to talk specifically to, what are some strategies that you can use around the retirement ready income account? The retirement ready income account is just that. Whether you're looking at REITs, whether you're looking at real estate, whether you're looking at life insurance, whether you're looking at annuities, whether you're looking at, some type of business that's going to cash flow positively, Airbnb, Turo, the list goes on. There's so many hundreds of types of businesses out there. People are making all types of knowledge-based businesses so that they can sell what they already know so that they can help other people grow. Now, that's you. We can help you with all of the things that we just talked about, because at the end of the day, we are multifunctional, multidimensional Husser Financial Solutions. There's a reason why solutions is in our name, because someone that has been a multidimensional investor for over 27 years, personally, I absolutely understand that some strategies work better for some than others based on their risk tolerance, their, foresight and what they're trying to accomplish. How much money do they actually need? How quickly do they need the money? There's a lot of variables. And so that's why we say this is not financial advice, because we cannot consult you in just a 10-minute video. That can never happen, right? But what we could do is get with you offline to see if we are compatible. News break, flash break, commercial break to see if we can help you, assist you, and what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because there's just too many strategies for people to not be winning in retirement. And unfortunately, historically speaking, the average person would retire with about $168,000 in certain communities for retirement. And I don't know about you, but 20 to 30 years, 40 years of living in retirement, $168,000 simply is just not enough. And so that number looks different for everyone. Your financial independence number looks different from someone else. Your, understanding of money, your relationship with money, everything is so much more different. And that is why a consultation, whether it's with me or someone else, you need to have a consultation with someone that knows money better than you, and that is going to help you with your strategy based on what you tell them you're trying to accomplish, so that you can make calculated investments, or you can take methodical, steps towards your retirement. Because if you don't, unfortunately, many people tell us they wish they would have found us 10, 20, 30 years ago, because they just didn't understand the strategies. And 100% of people that we talk to have stated that they have learned a lot in our first consultation with them. So what we're talking about today is we're going to give you some high level products that have been working well for many people. But these are not the only products, of course, but these are some great products for individuals that are looking for something that's going to mitigate their risk in retirement, so that they don't have to worry about losing money, all right, on their way to retirement. Because I don't know if you understand this, but the closer you are towards retirement, the less risk you should have in your portfolio, all right? Unless you just have quite a few different, different asset classes, where you have maybe 7 different asset classes, and you can, comfortably allow there to be some significant risk inside of your retirement. But many people don't. And I often say, of course, you don't want to have your risk, too high to where you can't afford to lose certain amounts of money, and now you're in a bad situation because you decided you wanted to invest. That is just not good wisdom. And I would tell you that you need to know what your how much risk can you afford in your portfolio. And so there is something called the sequence of returns. And if that sequence of returns return you bad investments as you move towards retirement, or as you're in retirement, it's just not going to be a good feeling for you, and it's going to be very painful. And so why not look at some really high leverage, low risk products, right? So let's talk about a few of those, and let's get into it. All right. So many of you have heard of REITs, very, very common product that many people have talked about. REITs, real estate investment trusts. Basically, you're allowing your money to be placed inside of, a product that's going to be able to allow you some cash flow, whether it's quarterly or monthly. Really simple products. There is minimal to no risk in these products, and you can cash flow and receive income into the future. Again, I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just making you aware of different products. So you might want to look up REITs. You can go to REITs.com. There's a lot of information out there around REITs. The other thing you might want to look at is, of course, index annuities, right? In other words, how can I get a significant or minimal amount of money every month, every year, without having to worry about losing money inside of the market? This is something that a lot of wealthy people use because they want to live off the interest of their principal. They never want their principal to be touched. They only want to make sure that they're going to continue to receive interest year over year, and they have predictability, and they are super excited about the fact that they have peace of mind and financial security because they have money that's coming out predictably to them every single month. All right. And so another opportunity for some, of course, is going to be maybe passive income, like, having real estate. As someone that was looking at, okay, I may not have retired from the military, but maybe I can retire myself through real estate with a passive income portfolio. Many people are doing that as well. You, of course, establish quite a few properties. One of the things I did was I took my 401k at the time 6 figures, and started investing inside things like real estate. And of course, we can show you how to do that without having to pay a dime in taxes. No matter what type of retirement account you have, you don't have to pay taxes on certain types of accounts, as long as you are doing this for the purpose of retirement planning. And of course, you can understand that. Now, of course, one of the things we did does purchase different properties, me personally, because I wanted to make sure that I had a certain amount of money per month. You may have a situation where, you're not necessarily into real estate. Maybe you want to do REITs because you don't have to own the property. You just have to own, the REIT. And, those commercial properties are going to pay you, pretty consistently. In some cases, other cases, they may default and may not be able to pay you. Not all REITs are created equal. And so you have to do your due diligence and those types of things. But those are 3 different ways right there that you can have a paycheck forever, literally. When I say paycheck forever, when we start talking about real estate and passive income, of course, you have government back, but now that's kind of going away. So people are looking at how they're going to do that because, the government's kind of taken away. And of course, that's changing depending on who's in the office. But at the end of the day, you could have some type of income from that, whether it's a long-term or short-term rental. This is common sense. These products exist. But there are different classes and courses that you need to understand and learn so that you can be a better investor when it comes to these. We can help you with that as well. So I'm just so that I'm clear. We do have access to quite a bit of courses, AI courses, as well as courses that I can help with, or consultations that I can help with. We can help with so that we can get you into the right products. For some of you, you just need a loan. You may need a business loan. You may need a personal loan to get you over the hump and to get you where you need to be. Husser Financial Solutions has now added another division where we are now helping people with loans as well. So if that's something that interests you, definitely reach out to us. Now, getting back on topic, paychecks that never stop. We just gave you 4 actually. We're going to keep moving. There's something, of course, many of you have heard of, which is the permanent cash value model, where you could have access to funds that's going to come to you in retirement, tax deferred, meaning that you never pay taxes on it unless you take it out a certain way or you fund it a certain way. If you fund it or take it out, withdraw it a certain way, you will pay taxes. But as long as you follow the rules, you never pay taxes. And what Warren Buffett has stated. He said, that you got to make sure that you never lose money. They asked Warren Buffett, they said, Warren Buffett, tell us what rule number 1 is. And he said, rule number 1 is to never lose money. They said, okay, we understand that. But tell us what the rule number 2 is. He said, go back to the rule number 1 and never lose money. And so that's what we're talking about today. And I'm well over my 10 minutes. And so, of course, we're going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. We're going to be back tomorrow. We have topics every single day. So let's go to our YouTube channel. If you're not there already, go to YouTube, Shatika Husser, and follow us. And make sure that you subscribe because you will see that there are quite a few different topics lined up for the next 29 days around how you can position yourself as someone that's an executive or not. But that's primarily who we are working with is executives that have a certain amount that they can actually put towards different products so that they can have income in their future. Of course, we work with, others that are not non-executives, but our target and our dream client, the ones that we work with the most favorably, the ones that make the decisions and they're decision makers and they're decisive, are of course going to be our executive clients. And our goal is to always make sure that they save. And the biggest challenge that they have, me having been one, is that you have all these taxes that you have to end up paying. You can either pay that now or you can pay that later. I always ask people, do you want to pay money on taxes on the harvest, or do you want to pay taxes on the seed? Do you want to pay taxes on $20,000 or do you want to pay taxes on $200,000? That is how we use different products to help you get that tax deferred, in the future or now, right? Depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Right now, for some, in the future for others, based on what they're trying to accomplish. Again, this is not financial advice. Now, at the end of the day, we wanted to just kind of share a few quick tips around, what are some of the products that people are getting into that is going to be tax advantaged, but also allow them to not have to worry about the risk. We want to make sure that you can, protect your money 4 different ways, ideally. Lawsuits, market volatility, taxation, and want to make sure that you can, protect your money from having to be challenged with, whether it's the debt, the creditors, or for some, unfortunately, the divorce. You are protecting your money from the courts. And those are the types of products are there because it's not something that's shown, say, on your credit. It's not something that's shown there. But at the end of the day, you have the the privacy. And that's a different type of product. And so, of course, many of you have heard of these types of products is where you own indirectly, but not on paper. And so that is what we're talking about. We have partnered with some attorneys that can help with that. We always want to make sure that we partner with, great professionals that understand these tax situations and understand the legal situations so that our clients have what they need when they need it. And so Paychecks That Never Stops is really where people want to be, because there's inflation. You have to think about inflation. If inflation is rising 3% every single year, how is your money going to be protected against inflation? Inflation is very important, and a lot of people don't take a look at that. The other thing is long-term care is very important. People don't look at that. Taxation, and the list goes on. I often tell people that your retirement plan should pass the HIT list, HIT, healthcare, inflation, taxes. And if it doesn't, you need to take a closer look at that. Now, I am Shatika. My time is up. We're going to help you retire before you expire. If you need a free retirement planning guide, you should go to shatika.com, or you can DM us on Instagram at Shatika Husser Financial and put the words to retire, or you can, really just put it on as a comment, retire, and you will get a copy or access to a link that's going to allow you to have our 18-page, retirement planning guide, checklist, however you want to call it. It's going to definitely help you get into action, get into momentum as we end this year and as you begin next year. You can already end strong by already taking action on your retirement. And so we thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back on tomorrow. Our goal is always between 5 and 6 p.m. Today we was able to get on just before 6. And so we'll be sharing 10 minutes or more. Today we are stopping at 17 minutes. God bless you. We will see you at the top. I'm going to put the banner. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share as we continue to share the information that we know is going to help you in the future. Look at shatika.com. You can see all our services, and we'll meet you at the top because you belong there. It's way too crowded at the bottom. God bless.